Hello everyone, my name is Ani, and today I'm gonna present about the tropical rainforest ecosystem. I'm in 4th grade, and I study at school, and so now I'm going to talk about the tropical rainforest ecosystem. This is an assignment that I got at school. So first we're going to start with a little overview. I'm going to talk about what I'm going to talk about in the whole presentation. First, I'm going to do a little introduction, a video introduction of different animals interacting in their ecosystem. Next, I'm going to go on to my animal, the macaw, and then I'm going to tell about its ecosystem, the tropical rainforest ecosystem. Then a little bit about living and non-living things in the tropical rainforest ecosystem and interactions between them. And then a little food web and a conclusion. So first, let's start with the ecosystems video. So this is, as I said, a little video introduction to introduce you to animals in their ecosystems. Before we start this video, I would like to tell you that everybody knows animals and non-living things interact with each other. They work together to survive. And so in this video, it gives just a few examples of that. So let's start the video. So here we have horses interacting with the ground to move. We have some birds interacting with the sky to fly. Here are some seals interacting with the ground to move. Here's some more birds interacting with each other to pick off food. And then here we have an animal eating grass, interacting with grass. There's an animal interacting with the tree to live. And here is finally some birds also interacting with the air. So here was a few examples of the ecosystems, different ecosystems, and animals in it that interact with non-living things around them. So these are a few examples of them. So now let's go on to my animal and some facts about it, and so let's narrow down a bit. So my animal's name is the macaw. This is a very famous animal. I know you know about it, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about this animal. It's a bird, and as you can see, I put 4 species here. First is the scarlet macaw. The scarlet macaw you can see at the top of the screen, the top left of the screen. The scarlet macaw is a large red, yellow, and blue South American parrot, and it's a member of a large group of neotropical parrots. And also we have another macaw. It's called the blue and gold macaw. This is also a very famous macaw. These birds can reach 76 to 86 centimeters, which is very large, 30 to 34 inches long, and weighs 0.900 or 1.5 kilograms to 23 lbs. These are one of the bigger birds of its kind, and it has very vibrant colors. So since we have talked about the macaw, we're going to move on to its ecosystem and where it lives. So here I have 2 maps, all ecosystems and the tropical rainforest ecosystem. In the all ecosystems, you can see in the key, the first word says tropical rainforest, tropical wet. This is in dark green, and dark green on the map is right through the equator. Same on the second map, on the tropical rainforest ecosystem. This one just shows where the tropical rainforest ecosystem is. This also shows that it's right through the equator. A tropical rainforest ecosystem is mainly in South America, Africa, and Southern East Asia. These are 3 parts of the world where most of the tropical rainforest ecosystem survives. And a tropical rainforest ecosystem is a very hot, moist biome. This is very obvious because you see that it is through the equator. So these ecosystems are through the equator and most found on Earth's equator. So now we go on to the tropical rainforest ecosystem and a few facts about it. First is that tropical rainforests are found on a belt on either side of the equator. Now this is also a fact that I showed in the maps. This is a fact that is very obvious. It's on a belt on either side of the equator, and it is a very hot biome. The next fact is there are more plants and animal species in the rainforest than anywhere on the Earth. In fact, 90%. This is a fascinating fact because this holds 90% of the world's animal and plant species. This is 90%, not just like 50 or 20. This is 90. This is a very big amount of animals and plant species. Next, we have that temperatures are very hot, through 79 to 81 degrees Fahrenheit, and rainfall is heavy, up to 1,800 millimeters per year. Now, since it's through the equator, it's obvious that it's very hot. It rains every day in the afternoon and every month of the year. Now, this is also obvious because considering that it's very hot, it has rain to cool down in those places, and it's also a rainforest ecosystem. It even has its name, rainforest. It says next that its growing seasons are 365 days a year. In other words, there are no seasons. A growing season is where a plant grows most. And in these areas, the more hot it is, the more that plants grow. And the growing season is through the whole entire year, 365 days, which means there are no seasons. There are only hot, hot, hot. Here we have different climates in different seasons. Suppose in winter it is a very cold climate, and in summer it's a very hot climate. So now we go on to the structure of the tropical rainforest ecosystem. This is divided into 4 layers. The ground level or shrub layer, the first one. The under canopy or understory, second one. The canopy, third one, and the emergent trees, the fourth one. So these are 4 different layers in the structure of the tropical rainforest ecosystem. First, let's start with the forest floor and the ground level and the shrub layer. This place has not so much sunlight reaches there, so these shrubs are very little and don't grow that much. Now, they do get energy from the soil, so they do grow. So next they go to the understory. These are a few. This is 10 meters higher than the forest floor, and these are other smaller trees. But not much sunlight reaches there either because the canopy blocks all of it off. Now let's focus on the under canopy. It grows from the forest floor, and it doesn't get so much sunlight because the canopy blocks it, and so the only times it gets sunlight is when heavy winds come in. So it sometimes, since of all of the trees, it opens up the canopy and sunlight can go through to the understory. Now we're going to go on to the canopy. This is where most of the animals live, and the canopy has so many trees, and there's so much sunlight that there is very, very hard competition to which tree can grow to the top and get to the emergent layer so it can win the competition. Now, this is very hard because trees have to even wrap around each other to get sunlight. Now, they fight for food. So, they wrapped around so much that the canopy is just a flat area of broad trees. It's like a giant net of trees. Next is the emergent layer. Some trees grow very high. These are the most lucky trees and the most first trees that have grown. These trees are very lucky because they have outgrown their canopy, or they have been grown first. So the emergent layer has all the sunlight, and they're very happy trees. They don't regularly fight each other for sunlight. Now, since we have finished talking about the rainforest, we're going to go on to the introduction of animals. So, since we've talked about the rainforest and you guys have clarified, we're going to go on to the introduction of animals and other living things like plants. So after animals, we're going to go on to plants, then hopefully some interactions. So first, I'm going to talk about how I'm going to divide up these later slides of animals. We're first going to start with the insects on the bottom left, like the tree snail, the morpho butterfly, and the rhinoceros beetle. And then we're going to go on to reptiles and amphibians like the poison arrow frog and the boa constrictor. Then a few birds like toucan and macaw, and hopefully some mammals like the spider monkey and sloth. So first we're going to start with insects. Some bugs aren't dangerous, and they only show their defenses, which they don't actually use. This is an example of one of those creatures. The Hercules beetle's pincher is just for show. It only shows it out so that other animals think that it can use it and pinch them, but actually the Hercules beetle is harmless. It cannot use its pincher to hurt you. Next we have the kycad. It looks like a leaf to help them avoid being eaten by many small invertebrates like birds, lizards, and snakes. Also, it uses the power of camouflage like most animals to hide from predators. Next, we have the millipede. It gets around with many legs on the forest floor. There are also millipedes here in America, but there are many other different species there in the rainforest. And finally, we have caterpillars. They're quite hairy, and we also have them here, but there, surprisingly, they have stingers. They can sting birds that won't leave these guys alone. So if a bird comes up and tries to eat it, it will sting it, and these have some defense, unlike caterpillars here, which don't. Now we're going to go on to reptiles and amphibians. Many reptiles hide in plain sight through camouflage. They hide and can't be seen. So here are a few examples of that. It has a lizard resting on the log. It's very hard to see, so it's a known fact that another predator might mistaken by just a log, so it can't really see it. Next, if you walk through the night, you can see frogs and hear frogs. There are many frogs croaking. Here we have a disturbance of crickets outside at night. There they have a disturbance of frogs at night. Next, of course, if you walk around water, you'll find turtles. Turtles are very common there. Here, an occurrence of a turtle is very rare, but they have many turtles back there. And also the vine snake. It sits very still looking like a vine, so mistaken predators or other animals will come by and think it's just a vine. A mistaken animal might come by, and the vine snake might just eat it. And here are three birds. First, we're going to start with the toucan. This is one of the more famous birds. It lives in South America in holes of hollow trees. And it's herbivorous, which means it eats only plants. Next is the resplendent quetzal. This isn't very famous, but it's a cute bird. It is omnivorous, which means they eat fruit and they dine on small meat creatures like lizards, frogs, insects, and small snakes, probably, or caterpillars. And also the harpy. This lives in large areas of the rainforest. And the harpy eagle is also a very skilled monkey catcher. It's a carnivorous bird, which means it eats meat. So this harpy eats larger mammals like monkeys. Now we have mammals. Some mammals exclusively live on the forest floor. Now, there are many other mammals that do kind of climb. They're like monkeys, but there are many mammals that usually live on the forest floor. So here we have a few examples of that. First one is the rodent. It lives on the ground of the tropical rainforest ecosystem, and it lives on the edge of the ecosystem to go and get food or scraps. Next, we have the Cotias or Cotamandi. It searches for food both in the canopy as well as on the forest floor. It doesn't look like it, but it's actually a climbing animal. Next, we have the jaguar. This is a famous animal too. It hunts by prey every night, and this is a carnivorous animal. It lives in rainforests, and it's also endangered. And now here are okapis. They live in clearings in the rainforest, and the rainforest that don't have dense trees and foliage. So they live in clearings, which are places that are that dense with trees. Next, we have orangutans. These sleep in trees as well as move through trees in search of fruit. They almost spend their whole entire life in the trees. They almost never go to the ground. This is mainly because they want to avoid being seen by predators. Here are some more animals in the tropical rainforest ecosystem. Some of them I have mentioned, some of them I have not. So you can look at them. There are a few animals. So yeah. So now let's go on to a few plants. There are many plants. I only got to fit a few here. So here we have 3 examples. First one is the Brazil nut tree. It can reach up to 160 feet, and they produce shelled Brazil nuts, found in the Amazon rainforest and Ecuador, Peru. Next is a bromeliad. There contains 2,700 species of bromeliads. They can also grow on rocks and on other plants. Banana tree. They're actually not trees, but giant herbs that blossom to become fruit. This is actually a very, very, very famous fruit, the banana. So most of it is produced from the tropical rainforest ecosystem. Next are more plants. First, we have the Bengal bamboo. They can grow up to 40 to 80 feet. And the surprising fact about these plants are actually they're only a piece of grass that has grown so tall and so hard that it becomes bamboo. Now we have the strangler fig. It grows up to 148 feet, and the strangler fig's fruits stay year-long, which makes a lot of animals feed on its fruit. Also, there are orchids. It's known as the largest family of plants in the world, and also it's very adaptable. So it adapts to any climate. This is a plant that you could grow in your house. And here are a few more plants. Here on the top, it has a few plants that are named, and on the bottom there are a few plants that are not named. Sorry about the voice. Here are a few non-living things. Because we have finished living things, we're going to go on to non-living things. First is sunlight. This is a characteristic that is low in the rainforest understory. So the understory doesn't get so much sunlight, and that's what leads to fewer undergrowth plants. Also, there are high winds. This changes the sunlight available to the understory by opening the canopy and letting the sun go through. This lets the understory grow. Next, we have soil composition. It refers to minerals and nutrients available for plant growth. So many plants use minerals and nutrients to grow. Now we have non-living things. This is more non-living things, and this is the most important non-living thing, I guess, on Earth. Water. It is the most important component in any ecosystem, mainly. There are also a lot of water there because mainly there's a lot of rain. So that's why it caused them to make so many big rivers like the Amazon, Mediterranean, Mekong, Negro, Orinoco, Congo, and Zaire. Because of the tremendous amount of precipitation, the watersheds receive a lot of water. Now let's go on to interactions between living and non-living things. Here is just a little introduction. Living things need a place to grow, so here are a few interactions, 3 interactions. Like fish live in water, this is a fish to water interaction. Birds live in trees and fly in the air. This is a bird to general trees and air interaction. And plants grow where there's soil, water, and sun. This is a soil, water, and sun interaction. Next, we're going to go on to interactions between living and non-living things. I divided this section into 4 groups. So first, we're going to talk about food interactions. There are 3 food interactions I named here. First is chipmunk is eating corn. This is a living thing to non-living thing. Now it's a non-living thing because it has been eaten. Lion eating zebra. It's also a non-living thing to living thing interaction because the zebra has been killed. And eagle eating fish is also a non-living interaction because the fish has been killed. Here are some water interactions. Elephants drinking and trees drinking and zebras drinking. Mainly it's just drinking with water, but there's also many other uses for water like bathing. Here are shelter and space. Here are a few animals living in their ecosystems. Lion living in cave, turtlefish living in lake, and sloth living in street. And finally, here are some sun, air, and soil interactions. Tiger breathing, plants absorbing sun, and plants growing in soil. So now we're going to go on to the final slide before the conclusions, the tropical forest food web. So here we have the key. You can see that the first green arrow is sun energy, and the first blue arrow, second blue arrow is food energy. So here is the food web. Here first we have sun energy. It wraps around the whole entire food web, and the food energy is in the middle. So the sun energy, the green arrows point to all the plants like coconut trees, bamboo, nuts, fruits, and leaves, and fruits. Then other animals eat it, like chimpanzees, banana tree, monkeys to banana tree, monkeys to bamboo, chimpanzees to bamboo, macaw, fruit bat, parrot eats coconut trees, macaw banana trees, fruit bat eats banana trees. So there are many things like that. And also there's food energy with carnivores too. Carnivores eat little animals like piranhas, frogs, and fish. And carnivores also eat carnivores, surprisingly. They can do that. So here are the conclusions, a few take-home facts. First is that rainforests are extremely important because the water they produce is evaporated and then used as rain in other areas, like here. Tropical rainforests are one of the oldest biomes on Earth, which means they have a great variety of plants and animals living there. And because of the amount of trees, there's a lot of oxygen production in the air. And the biome is maintained by interactions between living and non-living things, which supports the biome. And now, here's a little ecosystems quiz. Here are 3 questions, so I'll let you guys look at it and kind of, answer the questions. So I'll ask the questions. First question is, which is a tropical rainforest ecosystem? First or second? Second is, which is a military macaw? And third is, which is a food attraction? So I've given you some time to answer these questions. So now let's check out the answers. First one is the second one, the tropical rainforest ecosystem. The military macaw is in the middle, and the food attraction is actually the chipmunk eating corn. So now let's go on to my acknowledgements. First, I'd like to thank Mrs. Saldudi, my teacher, for assigning this project. I'd also like to thank my parents for helping me, and thank you for all your attention. Any questions? If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. Thank you, and goodbye.